Welcome to Progression Over Destination. This is episode number 1. It's going to be a bit self-titled because it's me and
Jack.
Who?
Jack Merrony.
Lovely. So go back to it. State your name, occupation, and favourite beige snack, Jack.
My name's Jack Merrony. I own and run Old Eltons print studio based in Tenby, and my favourite beige snack is probably a Greggs sausage roll.
Greggs sausage roll.
That's
You allowed to say Greggs? Are we sponsored?
sponsored by.
We'll
take a sponsorship if you're listening.
Sponsorship by Greggs. So we're going to start by asking. Well, we're always going to start. We're always going to ask each other questions, or ask our guest a question, set of questions.
Yeah.
Take it easy on us podcasters because we've never done this before, and we're not struggling. If you don't like it, you can just turn it off. The first thing I want to ask Jack is, how did you start your business, and did you get any funding or help from anyone?
I started it because my parents owned 2 surf and skate shops, and they were sick of, I think, basically just having all the big name brands in, and they just asked me if I'd like to try and print t-shirts or design t-shirts. So we bought a starter kit offline and just took it from there, really. Okay,
so you're not just going to end up printing t-shirts, because that's obviously not a forefront or like a start.
Yeah.
So how would they get to that point of asking you that? Obviously they saw an interest in what you did for you to develop into that line for them, like rather than them just saying, well, you can print some of these t-shirts.
Yeah. Well, I guess so. I think I was doing the year at Crafty Draft doing digital illustration, and they could see like my progression through drawing, and I was drawing a lot at home anyway. So I think they just saw what I was drawing and thought they could sell it in the shop, and then just went from there, really. And then they just kind of bombarded me with, let's do it, and it scared me a little bit, but we just bit the bullet and did it anyway. So.
Okay, so when you started, you didn't go through any universities or uni things, or
no, nothing.
Any courses that like helped you and started you off?
Nope, nothing. Completely self-taught, all on YouTube. Everything I've learned is from YouTube, even illustration. Everything has literally been YouTube.
Cool.
No illustration courses or anything.
And obviously, I know a few of these things that Jack's going to say, but there's always things that we learn about each other.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know that Jack... I'm going to stop.
What didn't you?
Personally.
You didn't know me personally?
No, personally. Used to, with the dog and the peanut butter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Fuck, not again.
Nah. So,
Just
anyway...
One time.
2 times. Right, so... second sort of question that we've got lined up, which we'll, again, like I said, we'll be asking everyone, is, do you think that being able to like physically build things helps your business? And if you obviously don't build stuff, do you utilise your business to pay tradesmen? So, for example, for you, you would like, if you needed some carpentry done, then you'd get some guy to build some doors, and you'd give him some t-shirts like that were embroidered.
Contra based thing.
Yeah.
I did a bit of contra in the beginning for Radio Pembrokeshire, and I didn't really understand what contra meant, and I've still got outstanding contra with Radio Pembrokeshire, which is, it's quite annoying, but I'll get round to it in the end, eventually even. But I can't build anything. I'm inept. I built the coffee table we've got our feet on right now.
There's nothing wrong with that. Sturdy.
It's sturdy, yeah.
Sturdy.
But other than
How long has it been there for?
It's been about a year now.
Been a year.
Yeah, but other than that, my dad is pretty handy, and he builds everything for me when I ask him to.
Cool.
Which is good.
How do you feel about people in the industry that are good at what they do? And like, are you ever checking their social media thinking you're doing
Always.
as well? Is there any people in, like, personally that you've looked up at that have turned around and gone, like, come back to you and shown you that you do actually do well?
Print house in Cardiff, yeah. When I first started learning how to do everything, I found them online. Obviously, I knew a bit about them, so I took all my machinery up there to test. Because basically, when I was exposing my screens, they were all going fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Everything was going wrong. So I took all my machines up there. I took my exposure unit up there and ran all the tests up there, and they basically said to me, like, everything you're doing is correct. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. All you got to do is change the bulbs out. So they were of the exposure unit to make sure you do it properly. But they were really helpful, and they. Is that right? Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So, but how do you feel about, like, other people in the industry that are good at what they do? Do you have like that bit of like envious stuff towards them, or like not jealousy, but like, do you feel a bit like, I want to be at that stage?
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I really need to be at that stage, but unbeknown to you, you're probably at that stage anyway.
Yeah, or I've passed that stage and I'm dwelling on the fact that I don't think I've hit that yet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't realise I've surpassed what I'm wanting to do. There's a few print shops that I follow online, and they all look like they're doing amazing, but I'd imagine they've been through the same shit I've been through.
Yeah. So, in that, off the back of that question, for us is, would you want to ever collaborate with anyone, maybe in your field or with anyone else that's not in your field?
Yeah, I'd love. I'm always open to do collaborations, but I'm not really sure how to go about it. I guess the only thing you can do is just message them and ask, because you can only ask, and they can either say yes or no. So it's just whether or not I'm up mentally to take that no.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it really. I'd love to collaborate with tattoo artists, illustrators, and anyone really.
Anyone in creative industries. Creative industries. Do you find that music can inspire you within the work that you do? And if so, what kind of music do you choose to like get you motivated, or like do you have music on to help you focus within your work? Or?
Music's really difficult here because me, Brit, and Wiggles all have like a different music taste.
My name's Wiggles.
Wiggles,
Wiggles.
Wiggles is a screen printer,
okay.
And Brit's head of embroidery. So Brit's massively into it, D&B, and like.
She sounds horrific.
But I don't mind it now though, because it's like kind of drilled into me. I don't. Yeah, that is it. And then Wiggles is into his Disney sing-alongs, and then there's me who loves my heavy metal. Yeah. So it's hard to please, but I don't tend. I find it difficult choosing music to put on in the studio because I have to concentrate, and if I have music on, I can't concentrate.
Yeah.
But when I'm drawing, I will put music on, so it's usually going to be something really heavy. Okay. Wage War, Memphis Mayfire, anything heavy like that.
Okay.
Whereas I think me and you are very different in that.
Yeah.
You're not heavy metal at all.
No.
Not at all.
I listen to a lot of punk and indie.
Yeah.
And the odd bit of Taylor Swift.
Oh, I love a bit of Taylor Swift, me.
Yeah, I don't actually. That's rubbish. Don't. She's horrific. With a capital C on the end. Are there any mottos or mantras that you live by? How's your chakras lined up?
My chakras, pretty much all over the fucking shop, really. Your little boy Harry.
Big up,
my man.
big wheel up.
Who
learned to ride a bike recently after I bought him a bike from Halford.
And just wheeled him out the door.
Wheeled him out, out of the foyer and into the car park.
Into traffic.
Dad, you still holding on?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said to me, just keep swimming about a year ago now, and I think that for me is resonates.
So we'll set the scene of what actually what went on there. Jack came to mine, struggling with little bits and bobs in life as everyone does, and my son was 6 at the time, and he was listening to a conversation. Probably shouldn't have been listening to the conversation, but
no.
We thought he was just watching TV.
Yeah, just a normal.
And
watching SpongeBob.
It wasn't anything that like he couldn't listen to. And with me, my children are there to be not just children. They can absorb whatever they want, but obviously, like.
Well, he could sense that I was upset. Yeah. He could sense that something was
something's going on. You was in your usual pick him up by his legs and turn him upside down.
No, take his pocket money.
Take his pocket money. But it was he was watching a film, and he could hear that we were all having a chat, and me and Jack were having a chat on the sofa, and he just turned around and was like, "Just keep swimming, Jack. Just keep swimming."
Hit me right in the feels. Just didn't
fields.
expect it.
And it's been. I think it's a good one. That's a
It
really
is,
good one.
and he will tattoo it on
Even
me. Well,
though
he
there's-
won't tattoo on me, but I will get him to write it out and tattoo it on me.
Finding Nemo. I'll tattoo on you.
Yeah.
Face.
Yeah, and my
And your eye.
backwards so I can read it in the mirror.
Yeah. With that in mind, have you ever found that you feel overwhelmed with the way that your business runs? So you've been overwhelmed with customer needs, or what is needed of you for a business to run?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day I'm struggling.
Yeah. Well, the likes of Brett and Wiggles coming to me with inquiries and everything, like asking me what to do in the day and stuff. I never had that in the beginning. I had to go and find that information myself and learn it, by going and finding that information. Like, I didn't have the answer from somebody straight away. It had to be something I picked up offline or through forums that I was in. It's just quite draining when they come to you every day.
So do you feel that with Brit and Wigglepuss that if they had a problem in work, you feel that you could resolve those problems at the minute, or do you feel like knowledgeable enough to lead them through it, or do you feel like sometimes that you need to go and Google something yourself?
yeah, all the
I'd
time.
be like, well, I've never had that.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's like trebled your sort of like intake of problems.
Yeah, because I've got so much going on in my head. Like, I know everything that is going on in this business. And they're fortunate enough to only know what they're working on. Like, yes, they've got other jobs on in the background that they need to do, but they know that they've got a task that they do that day, and that's what they work on.
Yeah.
Whereas I know I've got 80 million other things on my plate that I need to do. Like, right now, I know I need to be coating screens ready for the week. Right now, I need to be in there coating the screens, but I'm going to do it tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow never comes. That's one thing I always know.
Yeah, that's your motto.
That's what I push. I push everything away and deal with it the day I need to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm too busy being busy. Like, with myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think over the last couple of years, I've sort of like zoned in on that to kind of stop any anxiety or any sort of pressure to feel that I need to get next week's stuff done.
Yeah.
Unless I'm smacked in the face and I have to do it, then I'll do it.
Like, this week I had 3 deadlines to get done, and that's a new thing for me.
But you did them.
But I did them.
Yeah.
But I ended up doing like 60 hours this week.
But then you'll have 4 deadlines in a couple of weeks' time. And
Yeah.
you do that too.
Yeah.
But until
this
you
was
get to that point.
Yeah. Well, this week I did my first 5 colour front, 5 colour back
Yeah.
for a brewery up in Swansea, and
What's the name of the brewery?
Tikuru. They're just opening now. And it was a hell of a learning curve for me because I've only got a 6 colour station press.
Yeah.
So I had to do all of the backs, take all the screens off once I'd finished them, and then set up for all the fronts.
Yeah.
So that means if I fuck up a front print, I've then got to take all the fronts off, put all the back screens back on and reprint that again.
Okay.
And I managed to mess up 3 hoodies
Wow.
on both occasions, so I had to change the screens 4 times.
But you get new hoodies in, yeah?
Yeah, I got new hoodies in, but it was the time that I took to exchange those screens off and on again 4 times. And that for me nearly broke me this week. Because I didn't need that stress. And it was stupid mistakes as well.
Yeah.
Like, because I was tired.
So, if you're tired, question 8 is, what do you do to wind down?
Silly, but I draw.
You draw.
Yeah.
Cool. So, when you're drawing, you're obviously listening to a bit of music.
No, I draw in silence.
You draw in
It's
silence.
really weird, yeah.
That's what I did the other day. I found it was really good.
Yeah. Because you get into a thing called flow state. You know flow state,
Yeah.
right? Where anyone can talk to you and you can agree to anything. And then
Do you look at the clock when
No.
you're drawing?
No.
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 Because you
never.
zone out.
Yeah, I just
So
don't.
what about being like having the responsibility to be somewhere. So, like, say for example, your missus wants you to go out for some food, and you've just sat there drawing in your pants for the last 5 hours.
Yeah.
What happens then?
I get ready really, really, really quick.
Okay.
What do you do?
I think it's the first time in ages where Saturday was where I sat down and drew.
Yeah.
And I didn't like. I did a painting, and I didn't actually have to be anywhere till about 6.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. That.
And then I got to a point where I was like so fed up of drawing and painting, because I'd done like an A3 drawing of a snake and an eagle having a fight,
Bumming each other.
but having a bum. And it just really relaxed me and sorted me out for this week. I think it's like, because I felt that I wanted to do a nice drawing before a convention. It's been playing my mind to doing it, and I didn't think I'd think I'd get the time to do it. But I somehow made the time, and usually I think of it.
Yeah, where'd you pull those? Like, how long were you drawing for?
4 hours.
Where'd you pull those hours from? What dropped?
I went to work on a Saturday, when I never go to work on a Saturday.
Yeah, but what dropped by the wayside in order for you to draw? So for me, like today at home, I should have been doing the laundry. I should have been doing cleaning.
Oh yeah,
Should have mowed the lawn and stuff. Like, what dropped by the wayside in order for you to just?
What dropped by the wayside? So I was supposed to rebuild a bed, so my mattress is now on the floor.
Smash.
Yeah, so that's fine. I can stay on the floor. But I'm in an attic bedroom anyway, so it's giving me about another foot. So that's fine. So I'm just gonna do it tomorrow.
But tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow evening, before I get to bed.
Yeah.
I think.
There's one time for me that stands out the most is where I was living in Australia with me and Kelsey, and she left me at work at 7 in the morning on the sofa. I was watching TV and drawing, and she came home at 7 that evening, and I was still in the same place. I hadn't moved. I'd drawn for 12 hours straight without any breaks.
Oh God.
Any breaks at all.
Definitely had some kind of fish finger sandwich in between them.
Is that euphemism?
No. Right, number 9. Where do you see your business in a year's time? 1 year. That's not long. That's 12 months. That's
365 days.
360. End of summer next year.
52 weeks.
Do you see you knobbing a load of blancmange, or do you see?
That is a euphemism, right?
That is a euphemism. Do you see? Obviously, you've got a really good backing with mum and dad.
Yes.
With like not like a financial structure, but the structure that came to start your business off, and you've only ever been growing out of that. Yeah. So, I would presume you haven't got any financial worries about what would happen, because you are like a fucking steam train.
Yeah.
So, are there any other? Well, you answer that. Is it anything that you would be worried about? Or
I think the main thing that worries me the most at the moment is knowing that mum and dad want to retire, and they don't want to be working anymore. They want to be going, like, they've gone away to St David's now for 3 nights, 4 nights, whatever they've done. They've gone away.
Big up to the smaller city in the country.
Yeah. So they've gone up there to get away and stuff, and you know, if they'd have done that 6 months ago, a year ago, I'd have been bricking it. Yeah. But I know I'm in a place where I can handle the work that's coming in, and I don't need to rely on mum to organise all the shit in the store in there, because Wiggles is trained up now and Brit's smashing it, you know. So, but in 6 months' time, I'd like to be able to handle everything. Yeah. The wages, you know, the accounts, all the cash flow. I'd love to be able to handle that.
So you obviously are going to need more manpower, because.
Yes.
So, do you think that your place is going to accommodate that? Like, your studio is now is quite, like, you've already outgrown one print studio, which to us when we first went, it was like, Jesus, this is quite big.
Yeah.
you were first of all you were in your garage,
Yeah.
in your mum's, which was tiny.
Yeah, I look back on pictures of that now and think,
It's
how
just
the hell
like-
did I even function in
Yeah,
there?
it's like you got your dad's garage with his motorbike still in there.
Yeah.
Well, 2 motorbikes in there.
2, yeah.
Then you went to a unit which, what was the
750 square foot down the Eltons.
Yeah. And that's where you were next door to Tenby Brewing Company, which we will be speaking to in a few weeks' time.
Yep.
Which is James and Rob.
Yep.
Robert. So
yeah, I think when we moved to this place we're in now, we all agreed that we wouldn't be leaving here. The thing that we agreed would be that we would find another space.
yeah,
And we would keep where we are now.
yeah. So this is your HQ.
Yes.
This
So
is
even if this eventually turns into offices, and we find a warehouse out in a field or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's going to be the main thing. We've got so much car park space that we can build into as well.
yeah.
If obviously the landlord.
You could
lets
put a
us.
temporary structure there as well.
Yeah, and we
Well,
were thinking about
planning
shipping
permission.
container.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think the next step is to smash through the next couple of months and just see what happens. Really.
Okay, cool. Is there anything exciting in the pipeline for you in the next few months?
I'm going to Australia in 5 weeks.
So work related, is that anything to do with work, or is that personal?
That's personal. My cousin's getting married out there, so it's going to be a nice 3.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. It's going to be a nice 3-week break, but off the back of going out there, I will be hopefully getting to sit down with the owner of Bailey Nelson to record for this podcast.
And Bailey Nelson is?
Bailey Nelson is a company my sister works for, and they own 53 stores worldwide. So, fingers crossed, I actually get to sit down with Pete, or Nick, or Jackie, or anybody, and just chat to them like we are now.
Do you think they'll know what a beige snack is?
I don't think they will. I think we'll have to Australianise
There's
it.
There's a lot of pie and pasty.
Pack of pie.
Pack of pies. Pack of pie, mate.
7-Eleven.
Late night pie shops in Byron Bay that
Yeah.
open after the clubs close.
I used to love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let's go get a hot pie.
Chicken and mushroom pie.
Right, okay, so this is a question that Jack hasn't read.
Oh, God.
Are there any personal life-changing moments that you feel have defined you? And if you prefer not to hear what's happened, that's totally understandable. So either state yes or no. And if it is yes, what did you take from that situation to help you progress further and get to your current destination?
Holy shit. Wow. So, I had counselling last year. I had about 7 sessions of counselling. I moved in with you for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know where the fuck my head was at. Felt like my life just got ripped out from beneath me. No idea what happened. No idea what the trigger was. But yeah, I had to seek help. So I did that. Got medication, still on it to this day, and it is the best thing I've ever done. And I think the main thing I took from that is
A tattoo on your finger.
tattoo on my finger, yeah.
Do you want to explain that one? You don't have to. You can just stick it up to me if you want. Not at me, but at me.
Yeah, it's just reality over expectation, really. And I think for me it was, my expectations were so high of everybody, my bar was just too high, and nobody could meet it, not even my partner, and that was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
So when I finally got the help and the counselling and stuff, that massively helped me, and realised that, you know, it wasn't all doom and gloom.
Yeah.
I was okay. I had a lot of people around me, and the more I started speaking about it, the more people started talking to me about their problems, and I don't know, it was just yeah, I'm a lot happier now than I was then, put it that way.
Good. And obviously we've talked about, we like lightly touched upon mental health. We will be chatting to the Get the Boys a Lift boys, who do a lot for people in Pembrokeshire and, well, nationwide now. Maybe worldwide. Maybe one day. Prestige World Gav. We've got a few exciting people to talk about.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot in the pipeline now. I think this is the hardest part, is starting it.
Putting time aside to do it.
Yeah,
when
because
we've got 1,000 other things to do.
God, me and you are so. I never expected to be this busy. I remember walking into your container in your studio on your farm, and I remember saying to you, "I'm starting t-shirt printing," and you just went, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
Like, it's about time.
Yeah.
And
I also remember the times where instead of like seeing each other for the evening to think about doing a podcast or to tell people what we've done or where we want to go or how we want to go or interview people that we find interesting, that we were sat there and I was learning my trade on you.
Yeah, I completely forget that.
And like for me, you were the first person I met when I moved here, or knew when I moved here, out of my ex-wife's circle, family that she knew.
Yeah,
you were the only person I knew. So for me, this is obviously massive to be sat here now, not giving a shit about my actual work that I want to do.
Yeah,
that I need to do.
And putting it aside to do
putting
this.
aside to do something I want to do.
Yeah, and I don't think you do enough for yourself.
No.
I don't. I really don't. I think you focus so much on other people, and yeah.
Well, join us after a break, where we'll be discussing
Matthew's life.
Matthew, the colourful life of Matthew Price.
Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to part 1 of Progression Over Destination. Stay tuned for part 2, where we interview Mathew Price of Sursum Tattoo.
How did you start your business? And I know you didn't get any funded or anything, but if you'd like to tell the listeners how you
so starting my business. Okay, so I did a degree in fine art contemporary media.
I forget that.
In Newport
Mental.
University. I did before that. I took 3 buses to get to college, to do a BA Hons in art. Is it BA? No, some BTEC National Diploma in Fine Art. I lived in the middle of nowhere in the Welsh valleys and ended up obviously getting to where I did because I had to. I wanted it. At the start, tattooing was never a thing for me. It was more of, I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be an art teacher. And then I got to college, did my art, and realised that I didn't have a GCSE in English. So
where did you work before you came down to Pembrokeshire? Oh, you did Port Talbot, right?
No, when I moved to Pembrokeshire, I worked in the steelworks. I used to work in Asda. I was the chief trolley pusher at one point. I think I still hold the record for 150 pushed through the car park on a Sunday because I really wanted to get fucking home. And then I worked, when I was in uni, I ended up being in the photo centre, which was amazing because I got to develop photographs and I utilised that for my degree, which I think is a key thing to do for anyone, is whatever job you're doing, make sure you utilise that job to help you in the next thing you're doing, whether or not it's the next job or whether or not it's a personal benefit. I'm not saying to go there and, like, you know, if you work in a bakery, steal all the baps.
Oh,
but
love a bap.
I'm just saying, like, I think I've read something before about the guy from Disturbed that used to work in an office and he would just use the company, like, printer to print out their flyers.
Yeah.
And then post them everywhere. Like,
yeah.
I kind of, you know, did that. You know, I had my colleague discount and stuff, and I printed out photographs and did them to a really good quality, and ended up doing a lot of collage work to get me through my degree. Off the back of finishing my degree, I found myself in an extreme part of limbo, and I took a job that I didn't want to do, but again, I took the job that would let me draw all day, and I was answering phones in Cardiff. I wanted to live with the boys in Cardiff, and I ended up getting tattooed a lot when I was there, and I just fell back for it, even though I'd had a tattoo like 5 or 6 years before that, maybe.
Yeah.
Ended up I was really good mates with the boys from Physical Graffiti on City Road. Ended up sort of helping them with reception and hanging out a bit, went to a convention with them. I was really good mates with the piercer, and then I ended up buying my machine through the shop. It wasn't really the good way to do things, and it wasn't. I was kind of told not to buy my machine that way, but at the time that I bought my machine, you could only really buy them at a convention, or you had to prove who you were before you bought them.
Well, you just couldn't.
It wasn't a mail
machine.
order sort of industry, and it was massively frowned upon to buy a tattoo machine.
Really?
It was like, this is probably about 12 years ago. I then met my now ex-wife. She is from Pembrokeshire, so we moved down here and decided to start a family. With that in mind, I just took whatever job I needed to. I was working down the refinery 7 days a week. Like,
I remember this because I was trying to time, because I couldn't get my head around your shift pattern at first. Because I remember it was 4 days on, 4 days off.
this is a different job, right? So
The refinery.
no, the refinery is different to the steelworks.
They're the same thing.
They're not. No, they're two completely.
Do you not
separate
refine
places.
steel in a steelwork refinery?
Right, refinery is an oil refinery. So that's the petrochemical industry.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. So basically, I worked as a grounds work, did groundworks for a company. We used to have to be put under pipes, dig out holes, and then fill them with concrete to put structures in to hold the pipes up. They were full of gas, full of petrol, full of whatever, full of these horrific substances. It was a shit job, but the boys were pretty good, so it was toughened me up, made me more of a man. Then I got made redundant, and we had a little boy, and I moved into my ex-wife's farm. Well, her dad's leased a farm, so I moved there, and it was a massive space that needed loads of work, and it was a lot of maintenance. But there was a spare entrance. There was an entrance to the house that we could lock off, and we obviously saw potential in that for a later date for me to put a tattoo studio in that, which I didn't tattoo in until I got the council over. But previous to that, I was tattooing my legs.
Was that in the side of the house?
Inside the house, yeah. That was the first step of it.
That was where
That's when I first met you, properly. And at that time I was working 4 days on, 4 days off in Port Talbot Steelworks, which is an hour and 15 minutes drive from the house I was living at. And yeah, driving home on the wrong side of the road because I'm tired and falling asleep with a truck coming towards you is not the coolest thing. And then taking your boy to nursery, pretending that you were sleeping to your missus when you were just up drawing, and then being ridiculously tired, being up through the night with a child that liked to bounce on my head, and wanting to be that dad that helped the mum was an extreme part of my tiredness. Literally, I can still feel how my body would shake after a night shift. So I'd work. I wouldn't do a 7-day week like everyone else. I'd do a 8-day week, which would be 4 days on steelworks, and then eventually it was 4 days tattooing. So I'd come home from a night shift.
Yeah, and I'd try and time it when you were home to get tattooed.
Yeah.
But I'd always lose track of days because I was doing disability support work then.
Yeah.
So I was living in with a client for 2 weeks. So I think that was quite difficult to plan around it. But
so I remember ringing my dad and saying, I need to get my insurance up and running. I need to pay for. I'd like planned everything out of what I needed to do. I need to get my insurance up and running because I've tattooed my legs. My legs are really alright. I need to get my insurance. I need to get the council over here to check that everything's cool. And it's going to cost me 600 quid. And his answer was, we need to do more shifts in the steelworks. So I did. And obviously with what didn't go on, what didn't go to us as a family went to my tattooing. You know, and I'll never forget that from like the struggle was with me and the small family that I was with.
Yeah, but you never really went out or anything. I think
no, I never went out.
I think the first time I met you was in the Prince of Wales, and that was like the last night out that you went on.
Yeah.
Before you started this tattoo road, really.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm not a type of person who likes to, I don't know, indulge in going out and shit and dancing to crap music.
I mean, we do love that.
Yeah, we do now and again, but
yeah.
So, for me, the start was non-funded, but I will say, but my dad was one. It was quite a funny situation. He asked me for a lift to take him out on the beers, and I was over his house, and my little boy was obviously with my missus at the time. They were like at his house, and he said, "I'll take me over to go out." And I dropped him off, and as I dropped him off, he threw 150 quid on the dashboard of my car and went, "That's the taxi fee." So that was his way of saying, "Well done, you've got to where you've got."
Yeah.
And that was his. We've also had a discussion after that, and it was, I never had it. Why should I give it?
Yeah.
You know, and Dad runs a really big company now, and is good at what he does, and like I don't really rely on Dad, and I wouldn't ask for anything because that's not how it works. That's not how he worked. And he's got where he wanted. So why can't
that's mad.
You do this? Like I'm not in that mindset to even go down that path. Even though I've got 4 really supportive parents, which has massively made a difference to me in the last year. That sort of. I can't get into that mindset of, I need to ask Dad to lend me some money to do this, or I need to grow my business. I can't do that. I physically can't get that in me to do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's where my journey started.
Yeah, I think you're very different to me in that sense. I won't ask Mum and Dad for help. Like, I'm really lucky to be so close with my Mum and Dad that they'll just do it.
They can see it.
Yeah, they'll see that I need help, so they'll give it to me, and I won't refuse that because I know that they want it.
Back to buying stuff. Like when I told my stepfather and my mum that I wanted to be a tattooist, my stepfather was like, "Here's 400 quid to buy a machine." When I first initially started, so then when I had that machine and it was put underneath my bed because it was frowned upon for me to be tattooing. Everyone was like, "Well, we're not going to give you any more fucking help towards that.
Yeah,
you got to fucking show us using that machine," which put me in an awkward predicament because I didn't want to start using the machine
because you didn't have your insurance because you couldn't afford it.
Well, at the time when I bought my machine, I was still living in Cardiff, so I was hanging around with the people that would tell me that I couldn't use a machine, but bought a machine with. And then my parents told me that I needed to use my machine. So it was like, where do I start? Like, when do I start? When do I start giving a fuck about other people and telling them, no, I'm going to do what I want to do?
Yeah.
You know? And
because you tried to go for a job at your tattoo shop up there, right?
Yeah, I went to a few apprentice openings, and I was just like, I really want to do this, and they're like, yeah, that's cool, but you need to
go away and practice. And
well, no, it was like I did a week at Physical Graffiti, and they were just like, there was one or two of them really, really wanted me there. One of them didn't.
Yeah.
And the one that didn't, I had the shot with the other one. So yeah, there's never going to be a smooth set to get through it, and to be honest, it made me tough to those things, you know. And I think moving out of that circle and moving to Pembrokeshire taught me that they had nothing to do with my life anyway. You can switch those people off. You don't need like negative influences. You need people to fucking support you, and you just like that's the main. You know, you surround yourself by good people that will support you doing it. No one's gonna fucking frown upon you if you do like a tattoo on them, because you'll do a really good job on them if they trusted you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wouldn't have got a tattoo with you in the beginning if I didn't trust you. I mean, you took my phone off me in the Prince of Wales and Tenby, put your name in as Matt Tattoo with like 19 million O's on tattoo, and a skull on the end of it, and said, text me if you ever want to get tattooed.
yeah,
I texted you the day after, and then pretty much a couple of days after that, you were tattooing me.
yeah.
I don't know why I trusted you, because I'd never met you, and you were a boy from
But
Nutradiga.
the part of that which is missing is I did album artwork for your band.
You did.
when I
I've
lived in
literally
Cardiff.
just glanced up and seen the artwork on my wall now.
So that was because I was in a little college band. It was nothing but fun, and I did artwork for us, and we recorded at a studio called Screamadelica, which is by Mug5 on Instagram, which is Chris Maguire, who runs Eltons, run Eltons. I don't know, I've lost the loop with that, to be honest, but Chris is doing really well. He's living in New York, awesome dude.
Yeah.
And at the time he was kind of managing you lot, or doing
He
something, or
had a
recording
contract with us for the album, so
Okay.
we were up there anyway.
And he approached me and said, "Who done your artwork? Because I've got a band that would completely suit your style of stuff." And that's how I got that link in with you. With networking was kind of meeting you through doing work on your band,
Yeah.
which brings me into music more. And I think music is so important within networking.
Yeah.
Even like art and music, they really go together. They properly go together.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Seamlessly. Seamlessly. It's a new word.
Seamlessly.
Seamlessly.
Alright. So, going on from that, obviously you've had to build your business. You have a lot of friends down here now, so you know like a Tyler, people who do floors and stuff. So when you moved out of your your house,
Yeah.
your shop, your tattoo shop, into the cabin,
Yeah.
like obviously you didn't do all of that, because I remember helping you paint the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was just a small snippet. Who else did you call upon, or who else offered their services to help you?
So, with the work that I did when I first moved to Pembrokeshire, was I was labouring for a building company, because I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have anything set in stone. I was like, I'm just coming down here now for the life and to raise children, because it's the perfect place to raise children.
Yeah.
And I ended up working as labouring, and it taught me so much. And the boys I was with were just so good. It'd be job and knock Friday, go for a surf. It was a lifestyle for them, and they still do it, and they're doing really well for themselves now with their business. They like Toby and Di, they're Jones and Bradley Construction, I think it's known as that, or maybe. But they taught me a lot. Like putting a nail in a wall, or making a cement mix. That's
Man, I'm so bad at that stuff. Like,
yeah.
Kelsey was putting up a pic. Well, I said to Kelsey I'd put up a mirror.
Yeah.
Turns out I did it all wrong, and she was behind me saying, "Have you done it properly?" And I said, "Yeah, I have." Put it on the wall. It was completely fucking wrong. And she was just sat behind me like, "Are you sure?"
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not DIY Dave with a big dick. But I'm like, there's certain things I can do, but there's a lot of things that I'll get people in to do. And like now, like if I can tattoo for a certain amount of money an hour, and then someone comes along and paints my house for like, I don't know, like Sean, one of my best mates.
Yeah.
He's a painting decorator. We'll transfer it into tattooing hours.
Yeah. That was
for
the thing in here.
painting for the studio. That more than anything, it's just like that's how it works. That's how I've worked. I've always gone like, right, you could have 4 hours in your bank, or I can pay you.
Yeah.
And for them, they go, well, you've got a waiting list of this long, so give me the 4 hours, and I'll work extra
Yeah.
to put them in, and get that work done. Like one of my friends is makes resin floors. Like I order the stuff in, and then he does that.
Yeah. No.
And so it works. And I'm on my third property now, or third sort of like place I've been tattooing from that I've sort of built myself. I've had the fucking 2 a.m. finishes, 3 a.m. finishes. Like the last place that we did, like I changed it within 9 days because I was going through such a difficult part of my life. That was.
Wait, so you've gone from the
pretty-
house to the cabin to the shop?
So the first one was the studio that was at home, which was a spare room attached to like another tiled room, which was classed as a waiting room and like an area where you could like wash your hands and obviously prep. That was like my house was like locked in half, and then from there, obviously, you physically can't move your head from your house. So I did like there was at our farm that we lived at.
The Formula One truck.
It was a Formula One lorry, a refrigeration lorry, and I had a chat with my ex-father-in-law, and he said, "Why didn't you just put that together as a tattoo studio? It's at the front. You don't need to move it." So I got the wheels in motion with that. I think that took me a month while working. I think I was still in the steelworks.
I think you'd finished by the time you'd gone into that.
I don't know. Maybe I just finished. No, maybe I think I quit in July in the steelworks, and then this was like December.
Yeah.
That I did the renovation on the other place. But at the time, I had a friend who was a builder, and he like plasterboarded all the walls. I put all the woodwork in myself because I just wanted to cut corners. Well, not like ridiculously, but I just wanted to try and do it myself. So I put some like fake walls in with a lot of wood, and then the plumbing. Like one of my really good mates, Owen, he's a plumber. He was like straight in there putting it all in. My stepfather's a plumber, so he was helping. My uncle cladded all of the front with wood. And then one of the other boys...
That looked amazing.
Yeah,
that
it was cool.
So cool.
It was really cool. Like one of the other boys, Joe, he builds stages now for Boomtown and Greenpeace. And he did my stairs for a few tattoos on his arm. We did some... He's like, right, you could do what you want. I want some really old school stuff. So we ended up doing like Man's Ruin tattoos on him, and like ended up, I ended up having this amazing little space that I'd created. We put a roof on it at one point. Like the floor was all.
I remember you talking about you wanted to put like a rooftop sun deck on there.
Yeah, I wanted to put a sun deck on there.
Yeah.
I wanted to put a conservatory as a waiting room as well.
Yeah.
I wanted people to sit down and chill out with a load of plants around them before they come in and got tattooed. Like, without sounding it being hippie, there's no one else doing that anyway. No one else would want to. And it was, it got to that. It was unfortunately got to a point, but it's massively kicked me in the ass to progress within my career, and now I own a shop, which is something I dreamed of from the start.
Yeah, you always wanted.
But due to obviously my partner at the time not thinking it was needed, because we had what a lot of people thought was the best situation, the best setup. It wasn't that way, like. You can't leave work, walk up your drive and you can't leave the house, walk up your driveway, be in work from 10 till 6, and then walk back down your driveway
and expect to finish work.
And there's no transition period.
No.
There's no.
I think people massively underestimate that commute to work.
Yeah, the commute to work is a really important thing. Like, people sit on a tube for an hour to go to work in London, and they've got their music and they're listening to stuff themselves, and they're reading like Twitter or like checking their Instagram, and then they can put their phone in their drawer, be in work, and then pick their phone up and come back out. That's their time. But you end up, if you haven't got a commute or like somewhere to listen to, like have your own space, then maybe you've got that like instant sledgehammer of life as soon as you
Yeah.
finish work. You know,
I
I
think-
remember coming home from work and my kids I would just get through the door and I've not even had a shower yet, and I'd feel
It's that time to
the
think,
blood
isn't it?
spores on my and the ink on my leg, and I'm just like, do not touch my legs. I need to get
Yeah.
in the shower, and they'd be like, the missus would be like, oh, go do this, go do that a minute, and not in a way of like, I've had enough of these kids or whatever. More like, can you just go and do this for me? Can you
Yeah.
help with it? And I would just be in
Okay.
a state of like, I need to get my stuff off. But yeah, but now we're in a shop in Narberth. It's right next to the Eagle Inn. That place took 9 days
To turn around
from
record shop to...
from a record shop, which was just basically a base. There was nothing in there. Was just 4 walls and a wooden floor.
How do you... Because before you were in a cabin on a farm.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't in the same... Not so much you weren't up to the standards because every other tattooist you knew was in a shop. Like, now you're in a shop, do you feel like you're on the same...
Yeah, I feel a lot more respected.
Yeah, that was the
And
what I'm trying to say.
I feel like I'm really reaching a point where I'm like, respected as an artist. And I knew that it's not the right way to do things, but I wasn't doing it the wrong way. I knew it wasn't the right way, but I wasn't doing it the wrong way.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
You were doing it in the way that you thought best.
No, I did it in the way that is the best. You know, like I didn't cut any corners. You know, I didn't like that. The studio that was in like the refrigeration lorry, like log cabin thing. If you were in there, you didn't really realise that you were anywhere else. You just thought you were in a tattoo studio.
Yeah.
And especially after the second renovation.
Yeah.
The first renovation was it needed refining, but I could only refine that when I knew exactly what I was doing and exactly what I needed as a tattooist.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had more space in the second time I cut most of the sink unit out because that was just a waste of space.
Yeah, because then you took on Pat then as well. So
and I made room for Patrick to come in. It wasn't intentional for Patrick, but it was for another artist or for guests, because we did have guests down from Crown of Thorns, Ash Boss. We've had like Sean Wainwright. We also had Joe Phillips had come down, and obviously my really good mate Robin Williams. Not Mrs. Doubtfire.
I was gonna say,
but, the ginger Welsh one. He was now in Bude, Cornwall.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Would you ever want to collaborate with any of those guys now? Like,
Oh well, I'm working a convention with Robin in 2 weeks' time. Like, we lashed the cash up with Ash and Joe as well. I see Joe. I saw Joe in December. Like, he's a really nice guy, you know. Like, and his work is just amazing. It's good to see that he's doing well. But Joe's really concentrating on his family, which is the most important thing. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's good. It's good to see. Like, I think for all its flaws, Instagram is and social media is great to keep up to date with people without having to pester them.
yeah,
You can see what they're doing, and if you see that there's a lull in what they're posting, you probably want to give your mate a text. And if you can see a massive transition in what they've done and where they've gone, you probably need to reassess how much of a friend you are to them. Because if you can see that they have just moved mountains to do something, you probably just want to send them a message and go, oh, wait there, what's happening there? You alright, mate?
yeah.
Which I had a lot of. And I had a lot of people coming into the studio going, wow, why have you moved? Long story.
Yeah. Where do I begin?
Where do I begin? Nah, it's not that long.
So obviously, in the bit before the break, we spoke about a motto or mantra, and we spoke about your tomorrow never ends.
No, comes.
Sorry, tomorrow never comes. My bad. Do you want to elaborate on that at all? On why and why?
Yeah, TNC. live by it. So,
But where did
it come from?
Yeah, where did it go?
Okay, so where did it come from? The thing that the Tomorrow Never comes from my grandfather, and
Crazy shirt grandfather.
the crazy shirt grandfather, Brian,
Yeah.
the casual racist Valley's man, who loved smoking cigars, not chicks, who was known in the local rugby club as sexy, because he used to let all the girls in free.
Oh my god.
He was a man of acquired taste, but I think I've caught a bit of his charisma, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Bry, good old Bry. He always used to say, if someone say, "Oh, I'll do that tomorrow," he'd be like, "Well, tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow's not a day in the bloody week. Monday, Tuesday, you haven't got tomorrow after Tuesday, have you? No. So tomorrow never comes. Get into it now." That's the mentality I was brought up on. Like when my parents split up at 3, and I primarily lived with my grandparents until I was like 6 or 7. No, 5, 6. But I spent a lot of time with my grandparents because my mum worked a lot, being a single mum and all, and I would get picked up and taken to my grandfather's allotment, all that sort of stuff. So I spent a lot of time with them, and it's probably ingrained into me that tomorrow never comes. And like with me now, I'm kind of like, I'll answer that email tomorrow. And if I say it's a bit of, I shouldn't probably say this, but I say, "Oh, I'll sort that out tomorrow." Make sure I say I'll sort that out today.
Or Monday. Or specify a day.
Specify a day with me, otherwise tomorrow never comes. And I used to have, in the studio, it used to say "free tattoos tomorrow," and then on the wall behind me now it says "tomorrow never comes." And it's got a little Polaroid of Bry,
Yeah.
the casual racist, foul-mouthed guy who used to fart in quick save.
Fucking hell.
Genius, absolute genius.
I know we touched on
Cloth.
music before. We touched on, and you were talking about Mac Miller before we came back into this. Does like, because you're into your punk and stuff, do you find that Mac Miller is now getting you motivated, or is that helping you focus? Because that Mac Miller to the Ramones, like they're two very different genres. Do you feel that the Ramones and Mac Miller have the same impact on you, or is that?
Well, no, it's just like a lot of stuff I listen to is a lot of background music. So the softer is the sort of like, there's more zoning out I do. I suppose if I do like geometry stuff, I'll put a bit of like sort of maybe some DJ Shadow on, or it depends what we're all doing in the shop now. It's not, we've got quite a sort of good system where we'll have a chat first about what we'll put on. It's like, right, it's your turn to put something on. Come on, I'm fed up doing something.
Yeah, we have that here as well. It's hard.
It is hard, but like Patrick will put on a lot of like Britpop, and it's stuff that I haven't listened to. You put like Ocean Colour Scene or something on, or Blur. He loves a lot of Blur.
Yeah.
So we'll put a bit of Blur on. Mass, we have hit her off massively with our music because basically we want to listen to the Tony Hawk soundtrack. So he's into that sort of stuff, and then I'll play something to him. Like this week I played him the Chats, and every morning I've come in to work and the Chats are on. It's like
But he's listening to
he's
it
listening
now.
to the Chats. Mass is
What nationality is Mass?
He's Polish.
And he's listening to Aussie cunts. Can I
Chats.
do that with Aussie chats?
Chats. Bleep. Yeah. So we put, well, like, I don't know what we covered or how we looked at the music thing earlier on, and whether we'll include a little bit from earlier, but
I'll mix it in.
Cool.
If we can.
So
if you name the track, then I can put it in afterwards.
yeah, I've been listening like massively into Idols lately. The political sort of stuff they've been churning out. Like I took my daughter to see them for a dad and daughter day to the Downs Festival last Saturday. They're awesome. They're really good, and it's good to. I think it's good to bring that sort of music to children. Like, she sits in the car and she'll shout, "Put Alice Cooper Poison on," you know, like we're all really. What did we listen to the other day? Is the song of Matilda, you know, like on the way, Rusted Root.
Yeah.
So music's a big part of my life, and you know, it's always mood based. So whatever I'm doing in work, it'll always reflect that. Like, I used to listen to a lot of like As I Lay Dying and Every Time I Die, and sort of,
that's my wavelength.
yeah, sort of like hardcore. No, I don't think it's hardcore, but it's more, you know, it's heavier stuff. And a bit of Slayer mixed in. Yeah, I was listening to Black Sabbath on the car on the way over here. Bit of Fleetwood Mac. It's all really relative to what I'm doing and how I do stuff. Like, I put on some, like, Mass loves a bit of Wu-Tang. We have Wu-Tang Wednesdays a lot. And I've introduced him to a few rappers.
So that's touched on music.
Yeah.
Completely off now. Have you ever found that you feel overwhelmed with everything that you do?
Everything I do. Yes.
Business-wise?
Business-wise, yeah. Obviously, personally, like... massively with work, I've learned to switch off the last year or two in answering messages. And that sounds like I'm rude, but as long as I got work for the next 2 weeks, then why the fuck should I be constantly worried about answering mails?
Yeah.
Like, I can't, it's not... It's a really difficult situation not to answer someone at 9 o'clock when you just want to be nice and say, "Look, I can do it. Just pop in and see me."
Yeah.
And I've got to that point now, like, now I'm in a shop. It's like, just fucking pop in. You know, before I was out of the way, like, if I'm not there, I'm not there. Like, Mass is there now, which is really helpful, because it's like, oh, well, Matt's not in. He's booked up until a certain time. I can do that for you. So I think... Before, I kind of fought it, and I thought I could do everything myself. And when you start to realise that you can't do that, it's a really good situation to be in.
Knowing that you do have the help to accommodate that.
Like, though. we have Brogan comes in once a week, does a diary, does my diary. And she comes in on a Wednesday, which might sound bizarre to some people, that someone comes in the middle of the week, but we primarily have a lot of messages to deal with on a weekly basis rather than a set day. So if she comes in on a Wednesday, if I've managed to have some time on the weekend to answer some messages on a Saturday, that's cool. And then I can try and like balance enough until I go, or till that Wednesday, or I'll just say, give us a message on Wednesday, we'll get back to you. You know, there's always that. You know,
yeah, a lot of people ask me, like, how do I get in with Price? I'm like, look, Brogan's there on a Wednesday. Drop him a message on Wednesday, and Brogan will pick it up, and she'll chat to you.
Yeah, it's Tuesday night. Tuesday night, send me a message, you'll be atop of the queue. Because I get a lot of people saying, well, you looked at the message, but you didn't reply. Like, right, there's 4 people that have access to those messages. One of us could have been putting the kids in the car. One of us could have been at the shop. I looked at their phone, opened the message, and then put it back in the pocket.
Yeah.
I can't be accountable for that.
Yeah.
I might not have seen it, and then another 3 messages come on top. You know, that's the reality of it. I'm not being rude. I just sometimes don't see it, and sometimes, and like, if you've been tattooed by me for ages before, and you think, oh fuck, he needs to finish this. Why wouldn't he answer? Or oh, he obviously doesn't like doing it. I'm not that type of person. I'll do anything. I'm not bothered by what I do, but it's more of, I will be in touch, and if you really want to do it and you really want me to do it, you need to like constantly hound me, because I'm a deal with it tomorrow person. Like, yeah. I think every tattooist is as well. Every creative person kind of is. They want to like deal with that, what's on their plate for tomorrow. They don't want to deal with what's on their plate to book someone in fucking 3 months' time. As soon as I get a cancellation, it's on my Instagram, and it's fair for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I get people going, will you baby of mine for cancellation. It's like, right, I can, but
First come, first served.
it'd be nice to do it first come, first served. And the only way I've found I can do that is by putting a story out. And then if I don't get the work in that week, I don't get the work in. I get time to do other things. I've got 1,000 other things to do.
Yeah.
You know, and if I'm not tattooing, if I'm not doing washing for my 3 kids, or painting the house for them, or like doing a bloody mowing the lawn, or fixing their bikes, or
Recording a podcast
at 20 to 10 on a Sunday night, then you know, I probably need to do something for myself. I think I've been surfing 3 times this year.
So is that what you do to wind down? Is that what you choose? Would you choose to go surfing to wind down, or would you?
Yeah, it's all weather dependent, really. You know, like surfing is weather dependent. I'm not saying that I'm ridiculous. I'm not good at surfing. I'm terrible. I can just about be buoyant and survive the waves. But it's more of like, you know, that's a really nice way to wind down, because you are at one with sort of whatever's coming towards you. You know, like there's a place when you're surfing where it's like a place of like realizing you're a nobody. You know, and like when you're sat in some waves.
And they're beating the shit out of you, and you can't do anything.
You think, right, this current could turn, and I could be swept out. And I'm just still organic matter in a wetsuit with something buoyant. I could hold on to this for a couple of days, but the fact is I'm going to be missing cheese. I'll probably have a mental breakdown for cheese, or some kind of dairy snack.
Oof, that's beige.
Yeah, that's beige. Yeah. So yeah, winding down is a few different things really. Like, I've recently gone into a food Netflix series, but I'm not really like, it's late at night for me, you know, like, and if I'm watching something, I feel guilty that I'm not drawing for the next day, you know, or like getting an early night so I can get in early to draw, or answer emails, or do all the other shit that comes with tattooing.
I think people forget that we do have lives outside of this job.
Maybe.
And I think in the day and age of technology we're in, people will message us at 9 o'clock at night saying, "Did you get my email?"
Yeah.
Yes, I got your email.
I recently had a message saying, a text message come through and it said, "Matt, will you work on Christmas Eve this year?" Well, I'm already booked up past Christmas anyway. I'm going to take 2 weeks off this year. And I booked up sort of mid-Jan. And I turned around and like, she said, "Matt, will you tattoo me and my siblings on Christmas Eve? It's very special to us. And, you know, it'd be really nice if you could do it, because it's the only time we're together." And my reply was simply, no. I've got 3 other little humans that are going to need me more than you'll ever need me on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And that's Harry, Bo and Belle. That's my kids. There's not an ounce of me that would want to work. Someone said to me the other day, charge them £1,000 an hour. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
That £1,000 is completely not what I need. Like, I need to see some really excited kids get in some pyjamas so they can go back to their mums and wait for Father Christmas to come, and then they'll see me in the morning. You know, that's what I want.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't want to be sat in work on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Like, that's not gonna. That you could get me a, I don't know, golden plated toilet seat on a yacht. Fuck that. I'd rather.
That's a very wrong. I feel like you want that.
No, it's a bit of Austin Powers in that. It's a bit of Austin Powers. I want a golden plated toilet seat. It's not the bag, baby.
Oh.
So, in answer to that question, I forgot
it. We got 3 questions left, but I might just summarize this. So, where do you see yourself in a year's time, or your business in a year's time?
Where do I see?
And is there anything exciting coming up?
Right.
For you?
Cool. Right. So coming up, instantly coming up, we've got a flash day for charity on Friday. Friday 13th Flash Day with Get the Boys Lift, which me and Mass are gonna give our wages for the day to help Get the Boys Lift, sort of put money into what they do and sort of spread the word about mental health, which is super fucking important because it's affected all of us, however much you want to deny it or bury your head.
Yeah.
We've all been through it. We've all had fucking massive blips, felt unworthy of whatever we've got, or struggled to sort our lives out, and I've been one of them.
Same.
Felt completely overwhelmed and out of my depth. Felt like I was a jug that was constantly filling up, spilling a little bit out, and then filling back up again until there was no more.
You've gone
spilling left.
Yeah, you've gone through all that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we've got that first of all. That's Friday 13th. Then the 21st of this month, we have got my second only convention that I've ever worked. Because I'm in Pembrokeshire, I'm completely out of the way of everyone. I'm not really networking as much as I probably should be. So we are working South Coast Tattoo Showcase in Bournemouth Pavilion with some fucking ridiculously good artists, and I am bricking it. So that's cool. Like Ben from River City Tattoo Collective got us on that. I've kind of internetly met him through Scott Pullen, who is Broadside Tattoo in Swansea, who did my back, so that's nearly finished. So I'm working with Robin as well, Robin Williams. He's coming with me and Mass. It's Mass's first convention. Mass has only been tattooing just under 2 years, which is incredible. If you want to have a look at his work, he's Mathew Tattoo, so MASEU Tattoo on Instagram. It is that because I've been typing it loads. What else? I've got October the 31st. I'm flying out to Amity Irons in Long Island, New York, to work there again. This is my second guest spot in New York. I met some people through Instagram a long time ago, and they flew me out to work on them and their partner. Jack came out with me last time.
Yeah, it's good fun.
But he is now going to Australia this time. So we've got that coming up. Probably try and get back to London to see the FMT lot as well.
Yeah.
Before the diary's looking like a little round, but I'm sure we'll come around. Probably go up to have a little Christmas sort of guest spot with the boys with Joe and Chico.
Yeah.
Go from there really. I don't know. See what the next two the 21st brings, because obviously going to be networking a bit. My aim is to do a bit more of guesting around, so because I've just learned so much. I get really involved with being in a team of people that I don't know, and it's really nice to think you're completely out your depth when you turn up somewhere and then you're really respected, which I found bizarre. So seeing the studio in the next year, I can only see it.
Do you think you're going to outgrow this in the next year? Do you think there might be a potential?
Physically, there's 3 of us there now, and it's quite tight, but Patrick's not doing a lot of work because he's hand poked, so he's not doing as much as me and Mass are doing. As long as we're taken away, I don't see it as we need to go any further yet. I think we've just literally we've been in the studio a year now, or August Bank all day. So it's been awesome. It's been absolutely incredible. I live about 5 minutes from the shop. Mass lives about 2 minutes, and Patrick lives about 5 as well. So we've got this little thing going on where there's always one of us there at one point. It's quite cool. It's quite cool. It's quite nice. Now we could be, I don't know, another bit bigger, but then we'd have the temptation of getting someone else in, I think.
Yeah.
And I think with more heads more heads roll.
More heads, more problems.
More heads roll.
Yeah.
I think we're at a point where we can do what we're doing for a bit and keep hacking away.
Just
And
keep your head down and work away.
We just like working, like to a point. We did think about looking into an apprenticeship sort of sister, like someone apprentice, but it's just not enough room. We'd want a girl as well because we like heavily, like it's 3 dudes there. We'd want a girl if anything, but
It's a bit of a sausage fest.
yeah. So yeah, apart from that, in a year, maybe go down more of a route where we like doing some knockoff t-shirts, and maybe selling some merch outside for a Prince concert. But I can't see anything else.
Do you want to leave it there? Or do you want to
Um,
answer this last question?
Go on, I'll answer the last question.
So, personal life-changing moments that you feel have defined you.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Well, I do, but I'm not going to discuss it.
So that's not
No. Yeah, my kids are the big thing. The realisation of, you've got someone to provide for, and if you're self-employed, having that is a massive, massive stress. My ex-wife was studying to be a lawyer, which she is now. Well done. She's good. And, I think things got... We spun too many plates on a roller coaster. Yeah. And we got to where we got via each other, not anything else. We were both equally to sort of not blame or whatever, but the main thing that is what was from the start was our kids, and they still are the main thing that is really important to all of this.
Yeah.
So my kids are the things that define me, and I think when I'm not tattooing, I'm with them. That's what I really want to be doing. That's my wind down time. That's my time that sort of time of discovery of myself as well. And I can really learn from those kids because they are 3 ultimate awesome human beings.
Yeah, 3 little heroes.
Yeah, they are awesome. Like they take a massive interest in what I do, and I take a massive interest in what they do. And we've got a little a dinosaur museum in the shed with a glass cabinet full of bones that we found and fossils that we've been chipping away at. Then Bo, she's like loving her music and stuff at the minute. She doesn't like ballet, but she's been pushed into it a little bit. She's got a rainbow, so hopefully that'll get her out of her shell a bit. And then Belly is she's my 4-year-old. She's just started full-time school. They've had a lot to take on over the last year, and I think I've been learning from them as well. I don't think you quite understand. I don't think you, as a person, you understand the importance of your children until shit really hits the fan and you've got nothing. Spent 2 weeks or 3 weeks in your shed sleeping.
Yeah. Turned into a nice shed though.
I did turn into a nice shed.
Yeah.
It was a good shed. The curtains are still up there.
Yeah. Need to go get them back.
We do need them. Then moved into a flat. We had bunk beds for the kids and made sure that, I think that's the most important thing, was I tried my hardest to make sure that they were the best, also and tried to look after myself and tried to be as happy as I could be. And now I'm living in a really nice little place, and I've got tattooing to thank for that, because I could work wherever hours I wanted to work. If I had a 9-to-5 job that I was in an office, there might not have been the overtime there for me to work.
There's certain people that don't suit 9-to-5 office jobs, and we are 2 of them.
Yeah, so I think the defining moments, people think of divorce as a negative. I think I want to take divorce for me as a positive. and I'm sure Chris would do the same as well. You know, like she's happy and I'm happy, and we're both with new partners, and we both, you know, discovering the new world for us, and making sure that the thing that defines us the most always stays as the thing that's most important,
Kids.
which is the kids.
Yeah.
If that answers your question.
That's a pretty decent answer.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah, so it's all good.
On that final note,
Thank you for listening. If you have been listening, if you've fallen asleep because I sound like Bob Ross,
Rob Boss.
Bob, shit, spat everywhere. Oh, you dirty bastard! There's also, just before we leave, there's a guy that Greg sent us. Greg is our friend from Long Island, from America, and he sent us a YouTube sensation the other day who is a guy that is he doing stuff with Slate, and apparently he's now the new Bob Ross. So he's a Welsh guy.
I must have missed this.
I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah.
But we will put a link up on our
Story.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And somewhere on our Instagram, on a story maybe, or maybe on a post. We'll do a little post. We've got our Instagram now. If you want to start following us, it is Progression, capital O, over, well, not...
It's Progression Over Destination. You'll find it without capitals.
Yeah, well, you will do. No capitals. The only capital around here is St. David's. It's got a very small cathedral.
But yeah, thanks for listening to us talk absolute shit
Shit.
for the last 2 hours. I think it's...
Yeah, it might be less than this when you listen to it. Probably.
Well, we'll keep it as raw as we can. But
we'll
yeah,
be-
thank you for listening. And
We're going to be back with Tenbury Brewing Company.
yeah, if you have any questions you'd like to ask us or like to ask them, email or Instagram message us, and we will we'll put them in the show.
And if anyone is listening that doesn't like us, fuck off.
Thank you so much for listening to this month's episode. It was longer than expected as it is our first one. We hope you found it remotely relatable and got some ideas from us. We will have show notes up at some point online, but again, this is our first one and we're only just beginning. If you enjoyed this month's episode, then leave us a message on our Instagram. The handle is @ProgressionOverDestination. This would mean the world to us. See you next time with Tenby Brewing Co.
Progression.